He spotted Kofi and Kweku waiting under a large tree. They waved him over, and he joined them. "Osei, how are you holding up?" Kofi asked, concern evident in his voice. Osei shrugged. "I'm managing, but things have been tough. Amma and I are struggling to make ends meet." Kweku nodded sympathetically. "It's not easy, but you're strong. We're here to help you in any way we can." "Thank you," Osei replied, his voice heavy with gratitude. "But there's something that's been bothering me." Kofi raised an eyebrow. "What is it?" Osei hesitated before speaking. "The night my father died, I felt something strange, like a presence. And now, Amma's money went missing under mysterious circumstances. I can't help but feel that something unnatural is at play here." "What is that?" Kweku asked. Osei replied, "Nothing, just that my mind is telling me something is fishy somewhere. What's happening in our village is surprising, how people are dying prematurely." Kofi added, "You're right, Osei. What's happening in our village surprises me too. There's something we're not aware of in this village." Kweku agreed, "Yes, what's happening here is not ordinary. The question now is, what are we going to do? Sometimes I wonder what's happening to the youth in this village. You hustle to get money, but when the money comes, it disappears so quickly that it surprises you. Sometimes I wonder what the curse could be." Osei said, "One day, I will break this yoke of poverty. Look at our village, no one is rich, and no one can feed their family well. Every one of us is suffering. Will things continue this way? Why can't we wake up one day and hear that someone from this village is building a house or buying a car? God, please come and help us." As they were talking, the dwarf spirit appeared, though they didn't see it. The spirit said, "You are all talking in vain. None of you will make it in life. You will work hard like elephants to earn money, but you will eat it like ants in the end. None of the villagers will succeed in this life. I am the dwarf spirit, and I have spoken." The dwarf spirit then disappeared. Kofi said, "Let's go and check where we can work today to earn money." Kweku responded, "There is one job I found. It's clearing a bush where someone wants to farm. I've talked to the person, and we're negotiating the price. He's offering 5,000 cedis." The sun had barely risen when Osei, Kweku, and Kofi set out to the plot of land Kweku had mentioned. The morning air was crisp, but their thoughts were weighed down by the ongoing hardships in the village. As they walked, the distant sound of birds singing did little to lift their spirits. 5,000 cedis is decent for a day's work, Kweku said, trying to sound optimistic. "If we pool our earnings together, we can buy enough food to last a while. That's if the money doesn't disappear as fast as it comes," Kofi muttered under his breath. His words echoed the unspoken fear they all shared. They arrived at the plot of land, a dense thicket that had been untouched for years. The trees stood tall, their roots intertwined with thick underbrush. It was clear that clearing this land would be no easy task, but they had no choice. The money was desperately needed. They began working, their machetes slicing through the dense foliage. Sweat poured down their faces as the sun climbed higher in the sky. The work was grueling, but they pushed through, driven by the hope that this might be the start of something better. As the day wore on, Osei paused to catch his breath, leaning against a tree. He glanced around, his eyes narrowing as he noticed something unusual. Amidst the dense greenery, there was a small patch of land where the grass was completely dead, as if scorched by fire. The sight sent a shiver down his spine. "Kweku, Kofi, come here," Osei called out, his voice laced with urgency. The others joined him, their eyes widening as they took in the strange sight. "What could have caused this?" Kweku asked, his brow furrowed in confusion. "I don't know," Osei replied, his mind racing. "But it doesn't feel right. Something about this place, it's unsettling." Kofi knelt down, running his fingers through the dry, brittle grass. "It's almost as if this land has been cursed," he said quietly. Osei's eyes met Kofi's, and for a moment, they were both lost in thought. The village had seen its share of strange occurrences, but this felt different. It was as if the land itself was trying to tell them something. "Maybe we should stop working here," Kweku suggested, his voice barely above a whisper. But Osei shook his head. "We can't afford to stop now. We need the money. But we should be careful. There's something off about this place, and we need to figure out what it is." They continued working, but the mood had shifted. Every rustle of the leaves, every snap of a twig, seemed to carry an ominous warning. The patch of dead grass weighed heavily on their minds, a reminder that their struggles were far from over. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the land, the three friends decided to call it a day. They gathered their tools and prepared to leave, each lost in their own thoughts. "We'll come back tomorrow," Ose said as they walked away from the plot. "But we need to be careful. There's more to this place than we realize." The others nodded in agreement, their footsteps heavy as they made their way back to the village. The mystery of the dead grass lingered in their minds, a problem they knew they had to solve. But as night fell and the village settled into uneasy rest, one thing was clear: their battle was just beginning.